Hi,
I'm Z, your new host for the second episode of VarietyKick. Second episode. We want to introduce you to online personalities that we have found and hopefully you will find interesting from YouTube and Instagram and everything in between. If you're watching and you have a page or channel that you think would fit into our show, please email us at varietykick@gmail.com. I am your host, Jennifer is our director, and today's guests will be linked below in the description. It's May, middle of spring, summer's about to get here. April, did you bring us enough rain to give us the flowers we wanted? Sorry for those that have allergies, but I do always have Benadryl and Claritin on hand for any company I have. Spring break is done, prom season is about over, and there's maybe 4-ish weeks left of school before we get 2 or 3 months of summer break and hopefully plenty of sunshine. Except you over there in the Sunshine State, because we all know that's a joke. We have a few long-distance guests to show to you today, so please, come join us. Hi, Amy. Welcome to VarietyKick. Tell us about this look you've created for the viewers today.
Well, this look is more of a summer-themed look. It's very coppery, and it's very warm. It's called the Morphe 25A palette, and it's actually called Copper Spice. So all the colors are very warm, very kind of gold and coppery feeling.
Okay. What eye colors do you use?
For the most part, these ones here are all, I tried to pick ones that were very warm, ones that would really set off that bright copper in the middle.
We noticed that you did your eyes before you did your foundation.
Yes, and normally I'm really comfortable with the palettes that I'm using, but I couldn't remember how this one was. And if your shadows are really powdery, it's called fallout, so it'll fall out from your brush, from your eye to your face. And if you have a lot of your face makeup already done and it falls out, it kind of creates a mess that you can't clean up very well. So sometimes it's good to try to do the eyes first and to avoid being disappointed at the end.
I understand you focus more towards a facial complexion that tends to be more oily. Is it because of how makeup needs to be applied to that? Tell me a bit about that.
Oh yes, I have like the oiliest of oily skin, and no matter what I do, it's super oily. And the more time you give it to have like your moisturizers and your hydrators and things to kind of set into your skin, the better your foundation will last. And I try to give it the most time I can. So I like to do my eyes first and put, my facial products on, like my moisturizers and things, to give it more time to set in.
The products that you used, that you were showing us, what is the price range?
Everything that I used is pretty much, I think it's all under $10 with the exception of the palette. I think that was $13. But everything is available at the drugstore, and I mean, they're really stepping up their game at the drugstore. You can find some really cool things there now for cheap.
Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid.
Yeah.
Probably easy to find at Walmart, Target, your local grocer.
Yes, actually, I don't know if you guys have it, but we have Kroger here, and Kroger tends to have the new stuff before anybody else. I don't know why. So
Kroger's in hot competition in my household. I do like Kroger.
We do too.
The look that you did create, what was your favorite item?
Honestly, and it's got to be like the Neutrogena powder that I use to set my skin. It's the only powder that I found, high-end or drugstore, that actually stays put on my oily skin, and I don't have to like repowder all the time. And
I hate that.
It's so annoying, but this one lasts all day, and this just my favorite of
And,
any price.
and being from Texas, with the heat, you need it to stay.
Oh my gosh. Yes, like right now it's not so bad, but give it about a month and it's just like an oven here. It's awful.
Summer is coming.
Yes.
You started doing this about your wedding, which I heard was about a year ago.
Yes. We got married in January 2017, and probably about, I don't know, 6 months before that, I was like, you know what? I'm doing my makeup for my own wedding. And it was just a goal that I had in mind that I really wanted to do it myself. So I was like hardcore, like studying people's makeup for about 6 months before I did it. And I guess I realized I wasn't that awful at it. I'm not great, but I'm not awful. So that just kind of got me into, well, I guess I could post some of the stuff I'm doing and maybe people will like it. I don't know. And YouTube honestly was a way for me to track my progress and see if I was getting any better and not worse. So,
Do you get comments that are less than positive that helps you?
I've gotten some. There's, you're always going to have people that will leave you like weird comments, and you're not going to please everybody. But a lot of them usually aren't even about like my makeup. It's like, you sound weird. Like, I don't like your voice, or like, how? I can't fix that. I'm sorry.
Wow. That's definitely on the weird part.
Yeah. But there are people who will leave comments like, oh, well, can you do like an eyeliner tutorial? I really want to know how to do this better. And so I'll try to figure out ways to explain things that, I don't know, I guess I've never thought about explaining to someone else before and do that. So that's where some of my videos come from too.
So you learn from others to teach yourself, to teach others. And so far that's going well for you, it sounds like. Where is your biggest following?
Right now, I think Instagram and YouTube are kind of growing at the same rate almost. But I think I have the most engagement, honestly, on YouTube. Like random people will find my video through someone else's video and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I found this. I'm subscribed to you now. How awesome. Like, that's pretty cool. So I think for engagement-wise, it's definitely YouTube.
Do you have a couple products on hand that you can grab and kind of show and tell a little bit?
It's the 25A palette. It's called Copper Spice, which I thought was great since I wanted to do a coppery look. And all of these, most of these up here, these 3 rows, they're all matte. So there's no shine, no shimmer, no nothing. And these are the ones right here that I used on the lid. I used this really bright copper on the lid, and then right in the very center, I use this one here in the corner. Normally, I like to do like a little highlight in the very center of the eye, and it really makes you look more awake even when you don't feel like it.
Because coffee.
Yes. Yes, I had a cup before I came on. A lot of these shimmery ones, if you use a brush, that's when you're going to get like all of the shimmer on your face. And it tends to be very sticky and you can't wipe it away very easily. So you're just going to end up with like really coppery cheeks. So I like to use my finger with it, and it gets it more concentrated and a lot more vibrant than if you were to use a brush. Oh, this is my favorite part of all this because it's the Wet n Wild. It's the pearlescent pink blush, and it's $1.99 at the drugstore, and it's like the perfect pink for everybody. It has a little bit of shimmer, but not a lot where you're like, oh my God, I look more oily than I already am. But I think that's like my favorite drugstore find ever. $1.99 blush that's like lasts forever and is super amazing.
That is awesome. Don't shimmer. Now shimmer. Don't shimmer.
Yeah, it's like if you have oily skin, it's trying to find the balance between being shimmery without looking like you're cooking like an egg on your face or something. So, yeah, it's awful.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this. It was so much fun.
I played an indie game, and now I'm going to talk about it for your amusement.
Welcome to VarietyKick from England. Whereabouts in England are you?
At the moment, I'm in West Sussex, England, so it's sort of southeast area.
You are reviewing a game for us today. It's an indie game called Sea Salt.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And your channel that you review games on is the Nerky Werky.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Tell us about your channel first.
Well, my channel, obviously, I review indie games. Recently, I kind of changed up the content. I used to play indie games and do Let's Plays on it and stuff like that, but now I kind of just review them. I do indie game news once a month now too. I'm looking to do some other stuff, so reviewing adapted video game movies and do some anime news and stuff like that as well.
Where do you find these indie games? How do you find them?
Well, I just look all over the place, really. I mean, I always look on websites like Game Jolt and Game Shed. They always have unique sort of free indie games to look at that people can play. I like to review free ones and get to look at free ones because you always find like the weirdest and most quirky ones kind of in the bottom and the depths of the indie game industry. That's why I like to look at them.
Are they generally better than the more common ones?
Sometimes they are. I mean, you get a wide variety of types of games like that, but it's just occasionally you find one that's just like so unique and strange that you just kind of you can't help yourself.
Tell me how unique and strange Sea Salt is.
Well, Sea Salt is unique and strange because instead of playing as the humans once, you actually play as the monsters attacking the humans. So, yeah.
And so what are these creatures that we're playing?
Well, you play as a swarm. So I don't know if you know much about the sea god Dagon. I can't remember what sort of era of mythology he's from, but he's a sea god, basically. So he's kind of comes up a lot in kind of Lovecraftian sort of area. So in the game, you play as his swarm because he's getting angry at humans for attacking for stealing his fish and stuff like that. So you're playing as his swarm coming up from the sea and just killing the fishermen.
Don't eat my fish.
Yeah, exactly.
What is the ultimate goal of this game?
The ultimate goal of this game is, I imagine, there's only been a demo release for it so far, and there's currently, I think, a Kickstarter campaign's just stopped for it, but they're looking to do some more crowdfunding for it, so they haven't released a hell of a lot of information. But what the overall goal of this game, I think, is to succeed as with Dagon and to kill all fishermen, so humans stop taking his fish, basically.
How much time is there in the demo that is playable?
Well, it takes you through the tutorial of the demo, and then it takes you through one level. So I think there's 7 stages to the entire game. So it takes you through like the first, or part of the first stage, which is just basically you coming up from the sea, and you go through different areas of the level. So there's different stages. You go on to the second stage, and there's more humans to kill. Go on to the next stage, more humans to kill, and then at the end of the stage, there's a boss battle. So you fight whoever's in charge.
Is there anything else that I haven't asked about the game?
Well, it's kind of tactical in the way that you think about it, the way that you play it. So, for example, it's done from an aerial sort of view, so you control your swarm there, and you have 3 different types of minions that you can that you can use. So you got the first type of minion, which is just a normal swarm, which just kind of encompasses your enemy and just kills them melee wise, but they're very easy to get killed themselves. And then you have some worm type creatures, which are more heavy hitting melee creatures, but they're very slow. But then you have the cultists, which are more ranged attack units. So it's a very tactical way of thinking about it, particularly in the way that you can move the swarm about and just get around your enemies and surround them if need be.
What kind of a player is this geared toward? Is it for somebody that's more on a social level, somebody who's more intermediate in their gameplay?
I think it's kind of geared towards a little bit of both. You can, as a social gamer, you can play this game just to have a bit of fun, I imagine. I mean, it's not difficult to kind of get to grips with it. But on an intermediate level, I think as the levels progress, it definitely will get more difficult and a lot more intense, particularly in the way that you kind of control the swarm. So I think it's kind of geared towards both in a lot of ways.
And what platform is this on again? Is this on a PC?
Yeah, this is a PC game.
Tell us about your Twitter and how you use that to promote Nerky Werky.
It's so weird to hear that name. It's strange to hear the name. Because I've had Twitter almost as long as I've had my YouTube account. It's just I just basically talk about what I'm promoting, what content I'm making. So like a day before I release a video, I'll put up like a snapshot of the editing process of what I've edited so far. Just put it on Twitter and just say new video come up tomorrow, and then next day I'll post the video on my YouTube channel and then Twitter, which is all right. But I also retweet a lot of indie games that are coming out on different websites. So there's loads of different indie game accounts that I follow on Twitter.
Okay.
So I try and do my best to kind of promote indie games, but also promote my own stuff too. Well, at the moment, I'm working on a new series for video game adapted movies where I'm looking to review every single video game adapted movie that's been made, and the good and bad ones, and talk about what's good and bad about them.
How true they actually stay to the game.
Yeah, basically.
Good luck.
Thank you.